Well, SteamYard's messing with my shit again. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I'm your host, Comic Book Bob, joined as always by my good friend Hollywood Frank.
What's up, peeps?
Been a minute. Happy holidays. Hope everybody had a good, safe Christmas. Looking forward to New Year's. And you can catch us here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all news and wrestling. Also follow us on the hell social media, scroll below. And you can watch us obviously on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So, but yeah, it is that time of the year, man.
It is
Time of the year for us to make our judgments on the best and worst of 2025. But before that, how was your holiday, man?
not bad. Not a white Christmas again. So in the mid 40s. My niece and her boyfriend and weren't feeling well, and so they stayed with me and had family over for Easter dinner. Christmas dinner. Bittersweet though, man. First Christmas without mom in my life, so made the ham like she did, and try to remember her and carry on what she instilled in me, and let's get over 2025. It was a rough year for me, and I know 2026 can be better.
Yeah, gotta be better. Gotta be.
And I got my new shades.
Nice.
New Ferraris.
Sweet. Always cool.
If you can see, you can't see that because it's big, but you can see that symbol right there. Little Ferrari symbol.
On my glasses. If you can have the car, you might as well get the shades, right?
Yeah. It's got them today.
Cool deal. Well, I hope everybody had a good holiday.
Me in the moose mug with my eggnog, just like
sweet. I have not had eggnog this year.
Just like Clark W. Griswold.
I haven't had any eggnog.
Can I refill your eggnog, Eddie?
No.
Drive you out to the middle of nowhere, leave you for dead?
No, it is and I'm usually a nog guy, man. But hey,
that is my one of my favorite Christmas movies, Christmas Vacation.
That's one of the best Christmas movies. Absolutely. But real quick, while we're waiting here, anyway, everybody that stops in, everybody that lurks, appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it on your social media.
How was your Christmas, sir?
It was about the same, usual. You know how we do it, man. We just like the adults. We don't really give gifts so much as everybody pitches in. We have a really nice meal. We give little gifts, things like that, but our gift is the meal. And like my mom and my sister, man, they go all out.
Yep.
Had the prime rib again this year, with lobster tail, and just a lot of just good fellowship with the family. You know what I mean? And that's the to me, especially when you start getting older, that's the best.
Yep.
It's the best way to do everything. So, but let's see here. There you go. Close that. All right. Just checking my camera settings real quick here. But look, before we let's go ahead and check in. Leg Kick was first. He said, "Hey, all the Wrestling Council. What's up, Leg Kick? Appreciate you being here, brother." Big Daddy, who did a lot of stuff over the holidays, guys. Check out Big Daddy. The Guardian of Chaos, the original Learning Tree. Everybody knows Big Daddy around here, man. He is the guru of wrestling knowledge that so many of us need. Appreciate you, Big Daddy. He said, hey yo, Big Daddy.
Hey yo.
Greetings from the bad guy. Manacito, sup people? Malasino, it's up to you, brother. Make sure you stay. If you're on the road, brother, get home safe.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
What's up? Johnny, there are snakes on the property. Give me a minute. Oh, dude, bro. Be safe, man. Johnny, everybody who doesn't know, doesn't remember. Johnny lives in the freaking jungle, man. Johnny's like playing Survivor, the real game. So, you know what the yeah.
He's doing Anaconda for real.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
You can sell my ticket on that, man. Johnny's a survivor. But hey, no, bro, take your time, man. If you can make it in here, that's cool. I dropped you the link.
You can make snake surprise.
Snake surprise. Yeah, surprise that you make it out alive. I don't mess with Mother Nature, man. Mother Nature doesn't play games, man. Especially, dude. I heard. Okay, I'm not. Well, I am kind of a conspiracy theorist, but I heard dude. So, you know how there's this big movement, this big liberal movement to stop people from eating meat, and they want to make this fake meat. And there was that big thing that happened where one of the presidents of Campbell's Soup or whatever came out and admitted that they were using fake meat in their products and everything. And you got idiots like Bill Gates out here saying, "Oh, we gotta stop eating meat." And you shut up. Anyway, there's a tick now, dude, and it's in Texas, where meat comes from. Okay, cows, steers, Texas. There's a tick that if it bites you, it will give you this disease. You can't eat meat anymore. It literally makes it so that if you eat meat, you'll die. And I'm like, that's some bullshit, man. That didn't come from God. That's some genetically engineered crap. That's Bill Gates, wringing his hands in some secret lab like a friggin' supervillain. Some dude at WF was talking about engineering meat allergies. It's not, dude. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Big Day said you're not a conspiracy theorist. We're taught to ask the questions and investigate. When question turns out to be true, it's no longer a conspiracy. Yeah, dude. Like I said, man. Just because you think they're after you doesn't mean that they're not. So, but here's the thing, dude. Like I found out. I didn't realize this. Did you know that Lyme disease was engineered? That there's like real evidence that Lyme disease was engineered. I was like, what? And I don't mean like conspiracy. I mean literally like this, like Lyme disease appeared next to a freaking biochemical lab, and the tick was named after one of the and the disease is literally named after the city that they found it in, and the symptom is literally was named and co-authored by the guy who runs that friggin' lab. And I'm like, what the hell? Dude, I'm going down the Joe Rogan path here, man. But dude, I found out about that. I was like, okay, I'm like, that thing doesn't need to be living in Texas. That thing needs to be living in freaking in Australia or something like that. Down there where all this stuff's trying to kill you. But oh my God. But yeah, Lyme, Connecticut. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Like I saw that thing with that tick, man, and I just went down a rabbit hole, dude. That's how I spent my my overtime working hours, which I worked a ridiculous amount of overtime the last week. But anyway, wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know what, dude? We should start another podcast on my regular channel, just talking about ridiculous conspiracy theories and stuff. But oh my God, one of my streaming buddies, Clayton Barton, he started a like a cryptid channel thing. It's pretty cool. Anywho, professional wrestling. There's all kinds of rumors. And
There we
we're going to
go.
talk about some of that too when we're done.
Now we're
Before we
talking.
do that, we are going to go over some categories, our thoughts, and our feelings on the best and worst of 2025 in professional wrestling. There was some really good stuff, you know. As much as we talk crap about people and we moan and complain, there was some great wrestling, some great
There was.
wrestlers. There was also some crap. And we're gonna touch on all of that. So we've got a couple of different categories this year. One thing I did notice though, unlike years in the past, there weren't in the women's category. Women's category was pretty sparse on as far as like great matches, at least here in the U.S. Also, I saw a couple of where people were talking about matches in like Stardom and stuff. I don't watch enough Stardom to know, but man, this year like there were great moments, but there were very few great matches. Unlike like some of the matches that people were saying, "Oh, it was great," I was like, "Yeah, was it though?" No.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, when you bring back people like Nikki Bella and
Yeah.
Trish Stratus, you're not going to have banger matches.
yeah, and I think they brought back so many people this year, especially in WWE. I just feel like they didn't put out the quality of matches that they have in the past. They weren't bad, they just weren't great. So, but we're going to talk about that. We will talk about, and like I said, we'll also be talking about some of the things that we think were the worst. And yeah, we will. Nice. But all right, so
Let's go.
it is a episode wise. I mean, it is an odd one, so that means
We can skip the GBU.
yes.
And-
This week we're going to skip the GBU because we're getting into basically what we're doing is a giant GBU list.
Yeah.
So let's
So
start
you
with
get the category. I'll go first, but
right.
I'm not.
Let's
gonna do
start
my
with
good, bad, and ugly for the week.
let's start with yeah. Let's start with best pay per view. We're each going to pick 3. We had a list of about 5 or 6, sometimes 7, and we're each going to pick 3. So Frank's number 3. What's your number 3, brother?
Best pay-per-view.
Yes, that's 3 pay-per-views.
Probably number 3 for me would be Royal Rumble because I just was not particularly enamored with the overall whole execution of WrestleMania. I just thought some of it fell flat. You know, when you have a guy you call main event and he's not even in a main event, he's in a curtain jerker for night 1 because his cousin has to be there for night 1 main event. Falls a little flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's just my personal opinion. You know, so the whole thing with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and all that. I'm sorry, that wasn't WrestleMania, but the whole thing with WrestleMania it fell flat to me. It just it wasn't the banger that WrestleManias have been, so that's why it's number 3 for me.
I got you. I hear you.
What's
So-
your number 3?
My number 3 is actually WrestleMania 41. there were WrestleMania. Let me put it this way: I picked it because there were three or four. There were two really good matches. Two really good matches. But there were 3 or 4 match things where, like, I went into WrestleMania and I said, okay, here's what needs to happen for this to be a good pay-per-view. And it was this. I got almost all of what I wanted. And this was WrestleMania. This WrestleMania, I personally feel was, I mean, the Cody Rhodes stuff notwithstanding, and not the but the Cody John Cena stuff notwithstanding, we got 3 major moves at WrestleMania that I feel really set up things that needed to happen. The first was Seth Rollins was the triple threat, the main event triple threat. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, like what people are referring to as the Paul Heyman on a pole match.
Yep.
And it was Paul Heyman turning on CM Punk and Reigns to help Seth Rollins. And I said I felt like that needed to happen so that would free Paul Heyman up to go elsewhere. And now from that we got Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. We got these younger guys that needed to be elevated.
Yeah.
Something that I felt needed to happen. Now, I didn't know that I had a feeling that Braun was going to get involved in this somehow. Bronson Reed getting involved was like was a nice shock. But I feel like that had a major impact over this year. And, that was a huge deal. The other one was one of the best women's matches. Like literally, I'm trying to think of all the different women's matches. And the women's match that really stood out to me, especially in WWE, was the 3-way for the women's world title. Io Sky / Shirai retained against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I thought for sure that that she was going to lose.
Yeah.
I thought for sure she was going to lose. And the fact that she didn't, and they gave her due, was a big deal to me. And I'm like, that was a move in the right direction for that. And then the other thing was that Dominic Mysterio, they continued his elevation. Now, here's the thing. Is Dom the greatest in-ring performer? No. But he might be the greatest character that they have in WWE right now. He might be the biggest character they have. And if he continues with that kind of character work, look at CM Punk. CM Punk has never been the best in the ring, but he did get to the point where he was able to tell a great story in the ring. That's what you need from Dominic at this point. He's not wrestling as much like his dad as he used to, which is a plus. And his character work is fantastic. So I felt like, those 3 things happening. And unfortunately, it could have been, the thing with Cena could have been a big deal if The Rock hadn't abandoned him, and one of the worst things possible ever happened. But unfortunately, he got derailed by injury later, but Jacob Fatu, they continued to elevate him. He defeated LA Knight to win the United States Championship. He was on a trajectory to be, where he needs to be. They were moving the right people for the most part into position. Obviously, things didn't quite happen the way that they should have, but I felt like overall WrestleMania was one of, if not the best pay-per-view that WWE put out. So that was my number 3. What's your number 2?
Yeah, and going back to that, it was Cody versus John. That's right. In night 2, and I'm sorry, but to me, the GOAT is Ric Flair.
Yep, I agree.
People could say, "Oh no," because John Cena is the 17-time champion. No, Ric Flair has more world titles than John Cena, but they don't acknowledge them.
Yeah. I mean, if they acknowledged all of them, I think he'd have, what, like 27 or something like that?
Something a lot more than he has.
Yeah.
Than John Cena has. But nope. Need to grab that.
I'm trying to. I've literally got the same call from the same number 3 times in the last hour. Bruno Sammartino, dude, longest reign in professional wrestling history.
Yep.
Bruno Sammartino. There's a couple people I would put before. I mean, and I'm not talking bad about John Cena, man. Like when they finally got him on track for this year, I thought they turned it around, and he'll definitely go down as one of the best WWE champions ever, the last megastar that they produced. But man, there's a couple people, man. I would put Harley Race over him. I would put Bruno over him, Flair, Austin.
Yep.
Quantity doesn't always mean quality. So
let's see. Notwithstanding, because I really hate the feels like 20-hour long AEW pay-per-views.
yeah.
Because you have all these freaking 0-hour matches. It's like, oh my God. No, just give me a match. But I would say number 2, probably Double or Nothing. Ospreay versus Paige. Storm versus Mirakawa. Mina Shirakawa. Hurt Syndicate. I really could care less about the Sons of Texas. FTR, Dana Garcia. Nice to see Nigel McGuinness in there. Mercedes versus Hayter. So some good matches. Setting up things. I mean, I like it a little bit better than WrestleMania because, like I said, WrestleMania to me just seemed like it's the granddaddy of them all, but it just seemed a little flat for me this year.
It wasn't the best WrestleMania. I just thought it was
No.
one of, if not the best pay-per-view that WWE put out this year.
Yeah. And that for me, I mean, I just again, I hate that they're so long, so long. Let's just come on. Let's move along. Let's go AEW. But overall, not too bad. And I definitely liked it better than Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber is not even in my top 5. Just the John Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber was just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. Like, I don't even want to acknowledge that crap, but you can't be a megastar and not be a GOAT. Yeah, John Cena is a megastar, but it's definitely not a GOAT to me.
Yeah.
But it's my personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. You agree with me? Don't agree with me? I don't know. But that's my number 2. What about you, sir?
My number 2, I'm going AEW as well. And there were 3 absolute bangers on this pay-per-view. I am going with AEW Revolution. AEW Revolution. Again, I agree with you on the length. Drives me nuts. But 3 fantastic matches. And 2 absolute banger matches. The 4 matches that I felt like really put this show over the top. Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe. Best match that she has had. That this year is where Mercedes Moné turned around for me. This match was her best match since showing up in AEW. Until this point, she was like treading water for the most point. That match was it her best? No, far better than what she'd been doing. So that kind of set the tone, and she's been doing a lot better since. I still think they need to work with her, but and we'll talk about that more later because I think there are some changes coming that are gonna change some things. But Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita, bro. One, you got Takeshita, which this was Takeshita's year, man. That guy just went off, and it was for the International Championship. Awesome match. But and then what I personally feel was the best women's match of this year, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May for the Hollywood Ending match. That was without a doubt the best women's match in AEW history. That was the best women's match since AEW began. And that match, but then the match it was the match that night for me. Will Ospreay defeated Kyle Fletcher in that steel cage match. That match was freaking great. Freaking great. But yeah, man, I mean, those four matches for me really, those four matches, and those were the four big highlights of the night. All the other matches were good. You had Hangman Adam Page beat MJF. Swerve Strickland beat Ricochet, and what I think was probably Ricochet's best match since coming to AEW. Okada. This was the year that Okada turned back into the old Okada. And it kind of started at this pay-per-view, and it started with the match between him and Brody King. Brody King was another guy that got elevated this year. So yeah, I felt like was one of the best. And this is the thing we were talking about. AEW seriously struggles on television. When they put on pay-per-views, they put on awesome pay-per-views, usually. So that's my number 2. What's your number 1, my brother?
My number 1 is AEW Revolution.
All right. I ain't mad at it.
Just like you said, man, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May. I think probably one of the top 2 best matches of the night on that.
Yeah.
And,
on a pay-per-view of bangers.
Yeah. And Will Ospreay with Kyle Fletcher. I mean, Kyle Fletcher, he's just taken off like unfreaking believable. This kid, good for him, really good for him. But again, like you said, Omega versus Takeshita, another rising star there with Takeshita. Was that was the last Mariah May match, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because she's now Blake Monroe in WWE.
Yep.
But just was the Hurt Syndicate versus Outrunners? It was okay. Strickland versus Ricochet. Great match. Mercedes, like you said, probably her best match since she's been there. But overall, top to bottom, I think it was a really good event. And that's why it's my number 1.
Cool. I get it. My number 1, it's AEW again. AEW All in Texas.
I was going to say WrestlePalooza.
Nope. All in Texas. And
Texas.
Yes, All in Texas. It had one of the best matches of the year, in my personal opinion, in the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. Awesome Match. Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné, where we were so scared. I was so worried that they were going to have Mercedes Moné go over top of her because they had her running roughshod over everybody. Nope. Tony Storm wins. Great match. And then we had the rematch that people have been waiting for: Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. And for what should have been the unification of the Continental Classic title and the International title into the Intercontinental title. But that's another thing we'll talk about later. Instead, we got another belt that is now no longer valid. But that to me was, match of the night. Omega and Okada don't miss. And then what I felt like was the redemption of Jon Moxley, the beginning of the redemption of Jon Moxley, and the shift in tone that AEW needed this year. Jon Moxley versus Adam Page. Adam Page defeating Jon Moxley to take the world championship and finally put the damn thing back on television. Again, 3 absolute bangers. And it was, in my personal opinion, it was the best pay-per-view of 2025.
Nice.
Runner-up for me was Elimination Chamber, WWE Elimination Chamber. Just because of the things that happened there.
Yeah.
Well, Frank's got thoughts.
It's John Cena.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think that a lot of that just, that was the thing that kind of soured. Up until that point, though, the way the Elimination Chamber match actually happened, Okada versus Fletcher, MJF versus Page. Yeah, Revolution was really good. And this is the thing, we've talked about this all the time. Where AEW shines is when the matches that they put on their pay-per-views. They kind of stumble with their television, but when they put on pay-per-views, the problem is they're 5.5 to 6 hours long.
Yeah.
But there was Bianca Belair won the Women's Elimination Chamber, which I thought was great. The Elimination Chamber match with the men was great until that situation happened with Cena. But the match that I think about for Elimination Chamber, man, was the unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Randy Orton returning. Thought that was awesome. I thought for sure we were going to get the Cody heel turn. We didn't. But I thought of all the WWE pay-per-views, that one, other than WrestleMania 41, I thought that was the best one this year. But all right, so there you go, guys. There's another one that people put up. You said Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like the 5 that everybody was talking about was AEW All in Texas, Revolution, Double or Nothing, and then WrestleMania 41. And then some people were talking about Elimination Chamber, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, there were some good things that happened there. So, all right. So let's talk about this. Here's going. Most improved wrestler of 2025. Now, not the best newcomer, the most improved wrestler of 2025. What's your top 3, brother?
Top 3.
Yep.
Would be. You want me to give you all 3?
Sure. You can just give me all 3.
Number 3 would be Brody King.
Okay. That's a good one.
Number 2 would be Takeshita. And number 1 for me is Dominic Mysterio.
Those are good picks.
I just think Dominic, has turned a corner and just elevated his game to a new level, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to happen. It is what it is. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries this year, but for overall, I think he's done a great job elevating himself, getting himself out of the shadow of his dad. I think he needs to quit doing the 619.
Yeah, I agree.
Get his own move. Like we said before, he's too big and too slow for that. If he elevates that to something different, I think he'll just push himself over the top. But again, Brody King, just with him breaking away from Matthews and Black and getting out there on his own, and then being with Bandito for the tag team, Brodito. But yeah, Brody King just, to me, you're in that tag match or tag team, and then it's like, what do you do? Because we've seen people that have broken up from tag teams, and you just see one of the guys. It's just like when Otis was in a tag team, like the other guy just fell by the wayside. Booker T and Stevie Ray, when they broke up, it's really Stevie Ray wasn't relevant anymore.
Yeah, it's usually the death knell for at least one of them.
Yeah, and for Brody King, and because Tony Khan really doesn't do a whole lot with big guys like that, and to see him elevated like that, that's an accomplishment for that man.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, and it's like, especially in AEW with him being a big man, he's one of the best big men in the business right now. Tony Khan's got some of the best big men in wrestling, and for the most part, doesn't do anything with them. So that was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I'm not mad at that pick at all. So Big Daddy's pick was Braun Breaker, Kyle Fletcher, and Dominic Mysterio, and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's another one that really had a good year. He got elevated, so that was good. There were a lot of guys that actually got a chance to really run and shine this year. Some guys that they haven't. It's not that they weren't being used well in the past. They just weren't on that rocket trajectory. You know what I mean? But this year, a couple of guys, in my personal opinion, really stood out. Number 3 for me was Konosuke Takeshita. Takeshita had a real breakout year this year. Real breakout year. He won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He won the G1. He's right now he's involved in probably the best feud in AEW between him and Okada. That's going to be fantastic when it blows up finally. That guy, Tony Khan, and we knew that guy was a star from the day we saw him, man. He was just finding his groove, finding the way it works, getting those reps in so that you could see what was clearly a talent evolve into who he is now. And like I said, strap the rocket on that kid and just fly him to the moon, man. Number 2 for me, Kyle Fletcher. You talk about, he went from being, and he was in an awesome, Aussie Open was a great tag team. Okay. Him and Mark were great. But since breaking away and, the feud with Ospreay and just, the evolution that we've seen from that kid. Holy crap, man. That's a feature. I guarantee you right now, WWE are looking at that kid and being like, oh, we can't wait to try and poach this kid. We cannot wait to try and snatch this kid away. And I guarantee you, when his contract's up, if Tony Khan doesn't doesn't have, if AEW doesn't secure their television rights, and B, Tony Khan doesn't drop a friggin' fat check in front of that kid, he might be WWE bound. So, but Kyle Fletcher. But number one for me, man, is Braun Breaker. You want to talk about a breakout year, man? Braun Breaker, like they, they put that friggin', they strapped that rocket to him, man, and they're letting him go. And that's exactly what they need to do. This year was this year there were a lot of guys. Yeah, Mike Santana, Gunther made a comeback this year. They're really putting him up there, and they're turning him into the new legend killer, as they should, because that's, like I said, always said it before, and I'll say it again. Throwback to classic wrestling in the best way possible. Mike Santana, he did dirty recently though. El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser, who was just kind of a side character and everything. I honestly think that when and we'll talk about predictions and everything. When my brain just took a crap on me. Chad Gable. When Chad Gable comes back, I think he should just hand that off to Kaiser and just let him run with it, because I think he's done more with it than he was doing with it. But yeah, and then a bunch of other guys, like you said, Dominic. He's had a fantastic year. Okada, I think we got the Okada of old back, and that's he's elevated his game. Bandito is another one. Bandito's really had a great year. There were a lot of people that they finally got their chance to move up the ladder, and they snatched it. And they snatched that brass ring and they ran with it. So, but yeah, so those are my three. But there was a lot to choose. There was a lot to choose from. Tomohiro Ishii, baby. Dude, that's my boy. That guy, man, I love that guy, man. Tomohiro Ishii is just like, he's that workhorse that, he may not be the world champion or anything, but everybody freaking loves him. But all right, so most improved wrestler. Next up, let's go with women's match of the year. So I only found 3 matches that I really felt like deserved to be even in the conversation. So we'll just say which one that I don't know if you went and looked up any other ones, but
no.
I'll say what I think is my number one, but the 3 that I had, I'll go ahead and start this one off. Number 3, in my personal opinion, the women's IC match at Backlash between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. I thought for sure they were going to put that belt on Becky Lynch. But they let the young talent keep the belt, and they continued to elevate her, which is good. You need to do that with young talent. And I thought the match they put on was very good. I thought it was a really good match, and it was a match of note, which is one of the things. That's what I think has been missing this year, is for women's wrestling, is matches of note. A lot of the stuff that's been doing is just rehash of things that have been done in the past, and not even good rehashing. It's just a lot of it's just there. So, but that was my number 3. My number 2. Talked about it a little earlier. WrestleMania 42. Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair in the 3-way for the women's world title, and they made the right call. They kept the belt on Io Shirai, and they kind of built the thing in where Rhea Ripley she's turning into that person that Rhea can't beat. You know what I mean? The majority of the matches that, and the last few times that they've wrestled against each other, she's had Rhea's number. So that's an interesting thing that I feel like they could build on, to continue building up Rhea and continue building up Io. But that was my number 2. And my number 1 was the Hollywood ending. Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Mercedes versus Vacour. No, that was 2024, wasn't it? Was it 20? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'll have to look that up real quick. But those are my top 3, man, in that order. What do you got?
I would probably take out your number 3 and put in Mercedes versus Watanabe.
Okay,
that's my number 3. And then 2 and 1, the triple threat match with Bianca, Io, and Rhea, number 2. And then for me, you already said it. It's the timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May Hollywood ending match was, to me, the best women's match of the year, hands down. It's not even open for debate for me. Toni Storm, continues to be the best women's wrestler in wrestling today. I'm sorry for everybody else, but that's who I think is the best women's wrestler out there right now for this year.
Definitely the best character in wrestling right now.
Yeah. Obviously, that'll change in 2026, but for now,
we'll see, dude. It might not, dude. She's still putting it out there, man.
She still is. I don't know about all that dancing her and Orange Cassidy did. But
dude, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm glad that pay-per-view, that last pay-per-view was. I mean, there was some good stuff in that last pay-per-view, but man, there was some stuff in that last pay-per-view that was corny as hell.
Yeah, but that's my top 3.
Yeah.
And again, Toni Storm, Toni Storm, Mariah May. Enough said.
Yeah. And by the way, I looked it up. Mercedes versus Vacour was at Forbidden Door last year. So yeah, because remember she went to NXT first.
Yep.
No, it's cool. No, Big Daddy, I couldn't remember either. So, and which was probably the best match that Mercedes had up to that point, because it definitely made put Stephanie on friggin' WWE's radar.
Yep.
All right, let's start getting into men's match of the year.
Ooh,
this is a tough one, man. And me being me, you know me,
New Japan.
I got some New Japan in here, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some different stuff here. But I'll let you go ahead and go first on this one.
Let's see. What do we have here? AJ Styles versus John Cena at Crown Jewel. To me, that's number 3. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, WrestleMania, Night 1 main event. That's number 3 for me.
Okay.
We all knew that we all knew that Rollins was going to have Paul Heyman in his corner at the end. It was just like, okay, you could see that coming from a mile away. No offense, but it's just we knew it was going to happen. Number 2, John Cena versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. AJ Styles, this next year is his last year. But man, that guy can still put on bangers of matches. And John Cena being what he is, I mean, it's John Cena. I mean, he is still a great wrestler. He's not my GOAT, but he's still a good wrestler. And then number one for me is
It's a tough one, man. There were some really good matches this year.
Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay.
Kyle Fletcher versus Ospreay. Okay, I ain't mad at that.
Those guys just. I mean, I like both of those guys, and I think it's unfortunate that Ospreay's hurt, but when he comes back, he's got a lot of scores to settle. So, see you back. Let's see you back here, sir.
And
and healthy.
I seriously want to continue. That feud between him and Fletcher should be something that they continue going through for a long time.
What's your three, sir?
My three. All right. So again, I'm a New Japan guy.
Oh, here we go.
Number 3, Kenny Omega making his New Japan return versus Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Dynasty. Gabe Kidd is another of those guys. I've been watching him since he was a young lion. Love the dude. He kind of took a little bit of a hit this year because AEW got the brilliant idea to hook him up with Jon Moxley and the friggin' Death Riders. And that caused him to kind of fall by the wayside. Specifically because his personality and the way his character has been done since come back is he's been more like a lone wolf kind of character kind of thing. Just an old school Fit Finley like shit dogger who just beats people down. That was probably the best match at Evolution. Big Daddy was Io versus Rhea. Omega had that amazing return to New Japan. Man, they were freaking loving him. He made Gabe Kidd look like a freaking star in that match, which as you should. And it was probably the best Kenny match. Probably the best Kenny match that we've gotten since he's been back. Although I would put that tag match with him and Ospreay pretty close. But yeah, old school Kenny Omega get back to being Kenny Omega and really just showing what potential still exists in New Japan. So that was my number 3. My number 2 was another New Japan match. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Konosuke Takeshita at King of Pro Wrestling for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. You guys know me. I love Zack. Best technical wrestler alive. The guy that really in the last few years has put New Japan on his back to keep them relevant. Fantastic. And this was the match where things really started to click for Takeshita. This is where I feel like Takeshita's elevation really, really, really started to push forward. And again, if New Japan are smart, they will do everything they can to take him away from Tony Khan and make him the new center of their company. If you haven't had a chance to watch this match, my God, freaking Zack Sabre Jr., the man don't miss. He don't miss. And you guys remember those matches? I'm so glad we got to see him versus Brian Danielson again. before Bryan Danielson decided to hang it up. Because God, those guys are so good. I miss hard like old school, just badass technical wrestling. Always been my favorite. Always been what I've loved, and that's why I wish they would elevate guys like Chad Gable. Let him be the new Bryan Danielson. Yeah, he's undersized, but so was Bryan Danielson. But the guy's so freaking good. Just pull the trigger on it. You won't be sorry.
Nope.
But fantastic match. And my number one.
A lot of choices.
Because here's the thing, one of the matches. There's two other matches that I really feel could be number one, but I just didn't feel like if I picked one, I couldn't pick the other because that's the way my brain works. Just a match that just felt like it meant so much. John Cena versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. And it was, if you haven't seen that match, you definitely need to watch it. It's basically two guys that are at the end of their run, showing the world who they were. And especially with AJ Styles, the fact that guy was in there with John Cena, and John Cena gave him his props. He gave Cena his props, and the crowd was just eating it up. They were just eating it up. And I'm watching this, and I'm realizing I'm seeing the end. That match more than any other. I really feel like it was emotional, man, because you're watching the end of an era. You know, AJ, because guys got to remember something. Next year, AJ's gone.
Yep.
AJ's done. And next year, he's gone. You know, we lost Cena this year. We're losing AJ next year. And when you think about wrestling innovators, guys who made moves and created style that is literally aped by so many people, including Will Ospreay. You know, a lot of other young wrestlers, they've taken moves from AJ Styles. When AJ goes, I'm legitimately going to be sad when AJ goes, because that guy has been one of the best pleasures to watch in professional wrestling. There are those people that are true innovators in professional wrestling, and AJ Styles is one of them. And watching that match, if AJ doesn't get the Cena, and I don't want the Cena treatment from the first half of the year. I want the Cena treatment from the last half of the year. If AJ Styles doesn't get that Cena, that kind of treatment on his way out, something's wrong. Something's seriously wrong. Because that dude deserves it.
Yep.
Yeah, Big Daddy's thrown up some other matches. There were good matches. Those were the matches I just felt like those were the ones that just kind of defined the year. But yeah, and without a doubt, that Cena Styles match was the best match that Cena had all year. So there's my picks. Some other matches that I thought were really good. Moxley versus Hangman at All In, which was the return of the friggin' belt. The three-way, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland versus the Young Bucks. That was a great match. But yeah, so those three matches, though, those were my picks for men's match of the year.
Nice.
All right. Let's get into the last three categories, the big ones here. Best women's wrestler. What you got, brother? Just
Best
give me
women's
3.
wrestler.
There were some women that kind of elevated themselves this year.
There was. Survivor Series, notwithstanding, because that spot off top of the cage was terrible.
Oh Lord.
Io Shirai, Sky, whatever you want to call her, number 3. Stephanie McCoy, number 2. And Timeless, Tony Storm, hands down number 1. Like, it's not even, like I said, it's not even open for debate. Tony Storm, Stephanie McCoy. I wasn't sure what to expect from Stephanie. I thought between her and Julia, like, which one's going to get elevated? Are they both going to get elevated? I thought Julia was going to get pushed up there, but she's been flat. Like, honestly, it's like,
Yeah.
They've wasted Julia. Might as well send her back down to NXT because she did better when she was there. But yeah, so Io, Stephanie, Tony Storm.
Gotcha. Solid. For me, I would say number 3 is Stephanie McCoy. Definitely think that she is, like I said, like Big Daddy just said, strap a rocket to her and ride her to the moon. I really do think that kid is something else. I feel like they kind of fumbled her a little bit in the beginning, but they recovered pretty quickly. Definitely better than they did with Julia, like you were saying. Number 2. Timeless Tony Storm. Now remember, this is personal opinion. Personal, okay? Personal. Tony Storm, best character in professional wrestling. Hands down, bar none, and has the ability to put on banger matches when you want her to. But personality-wise, she's way up here. She's the best character in professional wrestling today, in my personal opinion. But my number 1, and like you said, Frank, take that friggin' trash can spot out of it, because honestly, I'm done seeing that thing. I don't need to see it ever again. They're doing that thing where they turned it into her trademark. But before that ever happened, she was just the best wrestler in the ring. Let her go back to being that. Stop trying to make that what was it? Was it the chair across the ring that RVD used to do, or that crazy spot that it's the crazy spot that this person does, the Jeff Hardy coming off the 20-foot ladder, the swanton off the 20. That's her crazy spot that they're doing. Get rid of it, especially if you're going to have everybody milling around like a bunch of lemmings for 10 minutes while she sets it up. The first time she did that, it was quick. It was boom, 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 done. And that should have been the last time she did it, because honestly, that move is super dangerous. And the more you do it, the less of an impact it has. So, but in my personal opinion, Io Shirai / Io Sky is the best, talent-wise, best wrestler in the world today. For me personally. So yeah, and honorary, runners up, Roxanne Perez, another one that's very, very, super young. A lot of them are. Stephanie McCoy is young. Stephanie McCoy and thinking about the AEW's WWE's roster, their women's roster, Rhea Ripley in her 20s. Stephanie Vacour in her 20s. Roxanne Perez in her 20s. They're all super young. Roxanne Perez is another one that's right there. She's almost there. Rhea Ripley, I mean, obviously she's been super exposed the last couple of years, but there's another one that they've got that they're going to keep around forever. So there's a lot to choose from this year.
Yep.
But in my personal opinion, those three ladies, they're at the top right now. Best men's wrestler. It's a tough one because there's a lot of young guys that are making their presence felt this year.
Best male wrestler.
Best men's wrestler. And again, our criteria are different. So.
Kyle Fletcher, number 3.
Okay. Solid.
Braun Breaker, number 2, and Gunther, number 1. Gunther, like you said, the new legend killer.
Yep.
Already took out Bill Goldberg, took out John Cena. Is he going to be the man to take out AJ Styles? Who knows? But Kyle Fletcher's elevated himself tremendously this past year, breaking away from Aussie Open, and then the guys, somebody that AEW needs to continue to build around him. Takeshita, these guys are the future of AEW.
Yeah.
And then Braun Breaker, it's going to be even better than his old man and his uncle are ever were. So, hats off.
Which is a bold statement because both those guys were really good.
It's a bold statement, but as long as he stays healthy, this kid is just the next big thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So, but yeah, it's good to see Gunther come back. From where he was at, you see pictures of him a couple years ago. When he was in UK, just the big, just He wasn't like a lot of people like talking about how he was fat and everything. He had an old school, style wrestling body. He did,
which just didn't have the aesthetic
he wasn't toned. He wasn't, in the best WWE shape. I mean,
right.
What he looked like there, you're not going to get to where you're at in WWE.
No. Way. Yeah, you got to kind of be at least a little bit of a body guy. Guys who get over the way that Mick Foley did, those guys are rare.
Yeah.
Super, super rare. So, but yeah. I agree. That's not a bad set. All right. My pick for the best men's wrestler. My number 3 pick is going to confuse some people because he wasn't used very well at the beginning of this year. He's being used much better now. Number 3, MJF.
He was out doing movies.
He was out doing movies. They put him in that goofy friggin' storyline with the Hurt Syndicate, where they also took a crap on the Hurt Syndicate. But in the last 3 or 4 months, they made a shift and they're bringing back the old Max. They're bringing back the old MJF, the one that everybody fell in love with, the heel that you love to hate. They're bringing it. They're bringing him back. And he's had some banger matches. And this last pay-per-view at World's End, they did the right thing. I personally feel like they did the right move because we knew that Joe wasn't going to hold that belt for long. Joe's got too much stuff going on in Hollywood, things like that. I love Joe. I'm glad that he got another run. I think Joe is woefully underappreciated as a professional wrestler. But I'm excited to see if they can get MJF back to the level that he was before. Because, dude, MJF for a good 2 years, he was the heel. He was the heel in AEW. Period. He was the heel in professional wrestling. And I'm 110% want to get him back to where he was. And I'm glad to see that he's returning to type. Number 2 for me, I agree with you, Braun Breaker. That dude has everything he needs. Everything he needs. And when we get into our rumors and everything, there are some moves that I hope my brain's telling me it's the smart thing to do. So I'm hoping that this is where they go. But man, I'm going to tell you what, man, that guy, that could be your guy going forward for the next 10, 12 years. 10, 12, longer than that. I mean, Braun's what? He's not that old. Was he? How old is he? Dude, he's 28. Dude, he could be your guy for the next 15 years.
Yep.
I mean, and my God. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, I agree with you. I personally think, throwback in the best way possible, building him up to be the new legend killer. He's being built up to be the new monster. And that is Gunther. And when they do him that way, when they do him as the Ring General, and they don't try to make him a tweener or some stupidity, and they don't feed him to someone like Jey Uso, you didn't have to do that to him. That guy, and he's got that ability to get under people's skin too.
Yeah.
Just an old school, hardcore, just mind-bendingly good at doing what he does, which is beat the snot out of people. Gunther Gunther could be he's a Marvel villain, for God's sake. Dude, you expect Captain America to show up and try to take this guy down. That's how good Gunther is. And I got some honorable mentions. Dominic Mysterio. Like I said, I really feel like his character work is super improved. If you saw any of the stuff he did in AAA, saw some awesome clips. Honorable mention as well. Bronson Reed. He's elevated his game. That's another dude. I always said Bronson Reed to me he was the new Bam Bam Bigelow. He's a big guy that can move. So, but yeah, there's my top 3 for best men's wrestler. All right. Last one before we get into our predictions. Biggest fails of 2025.
Wow.
We said we're going to do the bad, good. Well, we got to do the bad. And man, there is a lot of bad to pick from, man. Oh my God.
Yep.
Like I literally, I've got like 10 things sitting here in front of my face. And that's just, I'm thinking of more as I'm sitting here. What you got, man? The 3 worst things about professional wrestling.
Jesus. Worst things in wrestling. Oh my God. There's a lot you could go with. And I'll just piggyback off of what you have here a little bit.
All right.
Number 3 for me was the whole R-Truth thing was just
Oh my God.
That was just dumb.
You hear they're talking. They might do something similar to the Miz.
Like you fire him, or let him go, whatever you want to call it. Then you bring him back as Ron Killings,
Yep.
and he did nothing with him.
Ron Killings, and he was supposed to be the Ron Killings before he became R-Truth.
Yeah.
And it was just Ron Killings as R-Truth. And you didn't do anything with him, like you said.
Yep.
You sold a bunch of T-shirts.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, I know the guy's 50 years old or 50 something years old, and he's done. I mean, but he has the most title reigns of anybody in WWE.
Yeah. And dude, as for a 50-year-old man, the guy can still go pretty good.
He is. He had his match with Gunther last night on Raw.
Yeah, like they say, man, black don't crack.
Nope.
That was a big fumble.
I was gonna go.
God, there's so many. There's so many.
I was gonna go Jey Uso and this whole Yeet thing. I'm getting tired of it, but I decided to change my mind and go with the participation titles that AEW seems to be. You have a title, and you have a title, and you have a title.
Gets a title.
The only good thing about World's End was that Okada lost the Continental Classic, which means hopefully they're going to retire and do away with the international or
the Unified Championship. Yeah, the Unified. Well, they already announced that the Unified Championship's dead.
Yeah, so that's all.
Which is the dumbest thing. It's the stupidest. Oh my God, it was so dumb.
But just too many titles. Too many titles. Like,
yeah.
Why? Like, you don't need all these title belts. It waters down your product.
Yep.
And for me, the worst thing of 2025 was you can't see me turning heel on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
That whole thing just bad. Like, bad decision, bad storytelling. The whole thing was just a flop.
Yeah.
And because you had first you get Travis Scott there, it's like, okay, he shouldn't have been there at all. I mean, after that, he just was like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah, it wasn't that he said he was done, it was that WWE went, oh God, this is horrible.
He's like, yeah, this isn't for me, which it should have been in the first place. But then, you don't use The Rock anymore after that.
Which apparently that was the plan. They weren't going to, which is like, how are you going to do that and not have him be there?
If you're going to have him, The Rock, then you've got to keep The Rock there with John Cena.
Yeah.
But once they did that, and it was just John Cena by himself with the heel turn, it was just dead in the water. I'm sorry.
I agree.
So that was my worst story of the year.
God. So my number 3 worst, biggest fail of 2025, Nikki Bella's in-ring return against Becky Lynch. That was some of the drizzling shits, man. That was God. It was so bad.
It's still not over yet.
That was yeah, but they're saying that she's gonna be like a manager kind of thing, which okay, I can get behind that as long as she ain't in the ring, man. Good God. Because here's the thing. I'm not gonna take anything away from Becky from Nikki Bella. In the time that she was in, she did help elevate women's wrestling. But the time that she was in, she wasn't the best in-ring performer. Okay. She looked good, she was hot, and she was serviceable in the ring. Okay. She was not a particularly great talent in the ring, but she was good enough. Not good enough after a 10 plus year layoff to come back and be in the ring. She was in the ring with one of the best women's wrestlers WWE's ever had. And she was so bad that she made the both of them look pathetic. That whole arm flailing thing that Becky was doing, and she was like trying to slam her head into the friggin' announcer table. Just God. And then the execution, trying to execute moves that she can't do, moves that she wasn't very good at when she was in the ring, on a consistent basis. It was just bad. It was so bad, and it was embarrassing. And WWE was embarrassed by it to the point where, because WWE almost never talks about this stuff, they actually had to openly address it because their fan base were like, what the hell are we watching here? What is this garbage? So, and I'm sure it was embarrassing for her. She thought she thinks she's coming back to this big, this big revival of her career in this late hour. And then it just turns into a friggin' shit show. But my God, it was bad. And then the next match after that wasn't much better. It was better, but it wasn't much better. So I really think that WWE are starting to get the idea that the guild is off the lily with her, which is why they're looking to do she's going to be like this corporate, Bella Promotions thing or something like influencer Bella Promotions thing or something like that. That's what they're saying. Which go with that. Yeah. Number 2, AEW's useless titles. Not just irrelevant, useless. They have no purpose whatsoever except to put belts on people. It's quality over quantity all the time. All the time. And also just having the obvious staring them in the face and then we're going to go this way instead. You have a belt called the Continental Classic. You have another belt called the International Championship. What do you do? What happens when you combine the two of them? The Intercontinental Championship. What? And you decide, no, we're just going to make a third belt and call it the Unified Belt. Bah. Okay, well, does that mean that the Unified Championship is now there? No, the other two still exist. Then they're not unified, you dumb shit. Unified means they're together.
Yep.
Stop me when I'm telling lies. You can't have a belt called the Unified Championship if the championships aren't unified, you dolt. That was the stupidest. Tony Khan, 2026, Tony Khan needs to hire a guy whose only job is to stand behind him with a newspaper, a rolled up newspaper, And whenever Tony Khan comes up with a stupid idea like this, his only job is to smack him in the back of the head. By the time we get to about halfway through the year, either Tony Khan's going to have a freaking concussion or he's going to get the friggin' point. Because this was just, it was pointless. And here we are at the end of the year, and guess what? It's pointless.
Yep.
This belt that you made all this big deal about and everything, it's worthless now. It's gone. Because you're an idiot. Was this trip really necessary? So that was my number 2. But my number 1, before I get to my number 1, my runner-up was everything involved with John Cena's heel turn. TKO injecting themselves into this via The Rock. The Rock just dropping the ball and taking his ball and going home after this fiasco. Travis Scott's involvement, the absolute drizzling shits that this whole thing was. If they had just left Cena as the friggin' face the entire year, this run would have been so much better. But this is going to be it's going to be an eternal stain on it.
Yep.
And there's nothing they can do about it. So that's my runner-up. Number 1. Yeet! 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 This was the most annoying shit. The intro, somebody actually figured out that about 40% of the time, 40% of the of main event Jey Uso's matches, the intro was longer than the match.
Sounds about right.
Last time I checked, it was professional wrestling, not professional introductions. Okay? And I understand a good intro is important, just like good promos are important. Good packaging is important. But my God, man, eventually you got to step between the ropes. And let's be honest, Jey between the ropes this year has not been great. He hasn't been terrible. He's had a couple matches where he looked like the pro that he is. But he also had some matches where it looked like he wasn't just phoning it in. He was phoning it in with a few extras, if you know what I'm talking about. So, and by the way, they never did address those allegations of that match. I can't remember which one it was, but that where people were saying that he was high.
That's right.
Yeah. So, them trying to force this thing with the insistence, oh no, he's more than just an intro. No, he's not. Not this version of him. Okay. Let me make this very clear. The Usos as a tag team were great. I liked them. Jimmy and Jey Uso. I like Jimmy and Jey Uso as a tag team. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with people being tag team specialists. I love tag team wrestling. One of the things I love about AEW is that they make tag team wrestling relevant. Okay? Tag team wrestling hit a renaissance in the first 3 years of AEW. Okay? This was terrible. Okay, and I know there are people that disagree. You're welcome to your opinion. Main event Jey Uso, in my opinion, is a fail.
Yep.
This was a fail. Okay? And it was largely, and a large part of it is not, part of it's on Jey Uso himself, but a big part of it is on the way WWE handled him. You have Gunther doing the deed to this guy. You sacrifice Gunther to Jey Uso. And this is how you book everything, and this is what you produce? Are you kidding me? This was dog shit. That's my number one. Main event Jey Uso's run was one of the worst runs in probably the last decade.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, and I feel bad for Jey Uso because I like him, but this run was not great. It was not good. It was terrible. But okay, guys, that's our best for the year. All right, let's talk about some predictions.
Yeah, here we go.
We're gonna make. All right, we'll pick. We'll only pick 3 because we're already like a half hour over here. But hey, it's the end of the year, free and special. We're gonna go. Give me a prediction. You go. You do one, and then I'll do one. We'll do 3 each.
All right. Some point in 2026, your new AEW World Champion, Will Ospreay.
It'll have to be at the end of the year because that's when he comes back. Then they said that he's making his progress, his healing progress is really, really good. So maybe we'll get him back a little bit before the end of the year. But I wouldn't be, dude, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if one of my predictions comes true. But cool. That's not an if, that's a matter of when. Yeah, right. It's not if he's going to be the world champion, it's just a matter of when. Will it be this year? The injury might have something to say about that, but if it doesn't, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So piggybacking off of that, Kyle Fletcher, the protostar, which is a real word, by the way. The protostar will be the world heavyweight champion in 2026. If not to set up Will Ospreay's return at the end of the year or the beginning of next year, and the feud that will eventually result in Will Ospreay winning the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But Kyle Fletcher will be a world champion in 2026. All right, what's number 2?
If we're going to go on the championship route, I don't know which title he'll win, but Braun Breaker will be a world champion in 2026.
I believe it. I don't think he's going to win Cody's belt, but I think he's going to win one of them. I think he'll win the new championship.
He's not going to win on January 5th. That's not going to happen.
No.
Over CM Punk.
No.
But he's already been predicted to win either Royal Rumble or more likely Elimination Chamber and wrestle at WrestleMania for the world title.
Yep. And then Roman will win the other one.
Yeah.
To set up him and Cody at WrestleMania.
But I see Braun Breaker as having a world title around his waist sometime this year or this coming year.
That's a pretty safe one. I think that's a pretty safe one. That one I think is guaranteed to happen. Personally. All right, my number 2. Cody Rhodes will go heel and start a new Nightmare Family faction with guaranteed 2 members from NXT, Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. Cody will go heel in 2026, and his new Nightmare faction will involve in the call up of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. It's gonna happen. It's not the Horsemen.
Nope.
But it will be a new faction with Cody at the helm, and it will be a heel faction. That's my number 2. What you got for your number 1, brother?
The end of Judgment Day is coming,
It's been coming for years.
which will help elevate Rey Mysterio into the world title scene. Or not Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio
Dominic Mysterio.
into the world title scene. Whether he is champion by the end of the year, I don't know. But Judgment Day will be done this year, and Dominic will be in the world title picture.
Okay. I can see it. All right. I got it. Okay. So I got 2 really good ones. I'm going to say one is my number 1, but then I'm going to say the other is my runner-up.
Does anything to do with New Japan?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Number 1. Braun Breaker will retire Brock Lesnar.
Nice.
Braun Breaker will retire the Beast Incarnate and solidify himself as the new Alpha Predator. So, my runner-up, TKO will inject more of its poison into WWE, and they will start using AI-generated avatars of passed-on legends to announce pay-per-views, including Hulk Hogan announcing Crown Jewel Brother. The continuing of the selling of their soul. They will embrace AI. Yeah, dig it.
Nope, don't dig it.
No, it's going to be terrible. It is going to literally melt the internet. It is the fan base is going to absolutely have a freaking coronary. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at least once. And I'd be shocked if it wasn't. I'd be shocked if it wasn't Hogan. Wait. Here, okay. Here's another one. You ready? Stephanie McMahon will be inducted into the Hall of Fame by her father, Vince Kennedy McMahon. There's rumors already. They're already talking about Vince is going to start showing up here and there. I'm telling you, man. But there's my 3 big bombshells. Braun Breaker will retire Brock Lesnar. WWE will use AI avatars of deceased legends. And Vince McMahon will induct his daughter into the Hall of Fame.
If we're gonna go the retire, then Gunther's gonna retire AJ Styles this year.
I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. And every wrestler that's gonna have a retirement thing, and Jericho's probably going back to WWE for a retirement run.
He is.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he takes out Jericho. But all right, guys. That was our best of 2025. Our predictions. Martin says that Trips has too much ego to let anyone else induct his meal ticket. I mean, wife. No, dude, I'm telling you right now, man. Here's the thing, man, about Triple H. Yeah, he's got an ego and all that and everything, but he has masters now. He has masters that he has to kneel to, and I'm telling you right now, TKO, they do not give a shit. So appreciate that, Big Daddy. Big Daddy's a good show. Yeah, it was fun, man. Make it see predictions like this. It's all it does. This is the kind of stuff we love doing because we're all on the outside looking in. But yeah, dude, some of that stuff I'm thinking, this is crazy. But then again, I'm like, yeah, but this is WWE and TKO, man. There's really nothing off the table. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you. Appreciate you hanging with us, guys. Guys, be safe this new year. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the new year. Take care, everybody. Bye.